of course, Lava. And we've had a couple of videos prepared, so here's one on the importance of exercise in mental health.
So something that can be really important in maintaining a healthy headspace is making sure you keep up exercise, because a lot of the time physical activity can lead directly into how you're feeling mentally. I learned that a lot from one of the players on my team, Udisoft. Since being with him, I've really noticed a drastic difference from when I do it versus not doing it.
For me, getting up in the early morning and making sure I go to the gym every day makes the day productive, and I just feel so much better about the day.
So something I've just started doing actually is going to the gym, and you might see I'm a pretty small dude, and it's actually made me feel a lot better, mentally. I get to sleep a lot easier, and when I wake up in the morning, I just feel more refreshed.
It's not just about my body, but it's about my mind. So I find that I feel more alert and ready to go for like my work day.
Running would be the biggest thing for me. Just listening to a podcast, for me, it seriously makes me really happy, and I just tend to go into my own world and forget everything around me.
When I struggle finding myself going to the gym, I think about the long term and not so much the short term. Every time I miss a day, it's only benefiting the present me and not the long term me.
So just do it. Just go out and just do it, and you won't regret it.
All right, welcome back. Now, before we get into important box-related activities,
God damn.
They did reference it at the desk. Obviously, patch. We're playing on it now. Playing on the new stuff. You guys wanted to talk through it. Let's just go through the sort of like top-level things that we like or don't like, or that could be impactful or not impactful, and see how it works out.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's start with Nico, who did take a hit.
Yes, certainly. She took a hit to the on-hit build. Nico has risen in popularity because she's building Gwinsu, she's building Bork, and she's just whacking people's heads, and it's super obnoxious, right? So her scaling got hit. Jake somewhat referenced it. You're not picking Nico for scaling, but the fact that her scaling was incredibly good meant that she was just strictly overtuned.
Yeah.
Her scaling went from 3.5% attack speed to 1.5, which is huge, and also lost a ton of on-hit damage, the ability she maxes first.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you look at those nerfs, and I think we've all done this, you just like, oh my god, like that's a lot of nerf right now to that on-hit build, and that's the only build you're seeing for Nico in competitive. She must be gone. Like, they've just removed her from the face of the earth. But we saw her yesterday in the LCK, like, this champion still clearly can exist, and in the right mindset, people may still think she is strong. It's just that you see the nerfs, and everyone immediately thinks gone.
Yeah. Well, I feel like they've done it to just purely bring her back in line to her new portrait, which is, of course, our painting of her.
Yeah, yeah.
That, like, her abilities need to somewhat match how terrible the painting is.
So it goes from like the splash art, which is like incredible.
It's like the
and
best
then you
splash
get our
art.
painting that's like a little bit garbage, and they're like Nico power level. Let's bring it to a little bit garbage.
We need to bring it down a little bit,
Okay.
So I'm going to take credit for that one. Next one, Rakan got a buff.
Yeah, Rakan's buff's quite nice. The old, 9.3, I think it was Rakan or something. Around it, whatever.
Yeah.
He got nerfed. He got really nerfed. Like, his movement speed on the W dash was just hard cut to the point where he can't engage anymore. And people tried to play the champion. There was moments when you could make it work, but without your ult, you can't actually knock someone up with the W. That's how it felt.
Yeah.
So what they've done is they've basically made it so that it's faster on the W in general, and you don't need boots to be upgraded to have that extra movement speed.
Yeah,
so in lane, it's a lot stronger, which means you don't need your ultimate to hit your W anymore. And Rakan is actually one of those champions that you'll start to see crop up more and more with this
Because
change.
we're also seeing him crop a little bit, right? Destiny's picking it into Braum in the OPL. Like, he is currently picked if he gets a good matchup, and these are things that are just kind of trending him upwards, because as soon as we saw that movement speed nerf, every pro support is just like, ugh. No, and that now you're seeing them like consider him again.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So he's peeking his head back up.
Yeah.
And here at the OPL, we may see more and more. Next up, Relic Shield. Sustain.
Yeah, so like Sustain just like kind of down in general. They were just like, look, well, the support tank meta, or the support meta is tanks. You see a lot of Braum, Ali, Galio, Tahm Kench, like all of them, they just build Relic Shield, and a lot of people are handshaking the matchup. And what I mean by that is like one team picks like a tank that is abusable. Like if somebody blinds Ali, you can pick Morgana. But people are like, no, we'll just go a tank as well. So in tank v tank matchups, doesn't change that much, but I feel like the fact that Sustain is down, support meta eventually, maybe given a few more changes, but it's trending that way, will trend away from like tank v tank. Maybe we'll see more punished lanes.
And to give a bit of context for this as well, it's because we're not seeing as many tanks on the rest of the map.
Yeah,
there was a Scion Urgot meta, which maybe gave you a Morgana, but even then they were liking the tanks. But now that there is less tanks around on the map, support's the one role that has consistent amounts of them. that you can pick in a varying amount of situations. So
Yeah.
we were seeing lots of tanks. They are handshaking. With this change, there's a chance that mages do come back, not just the Morgana, but go down the rabbit hole of anyone that builds a Spell Thieves. They're very good at abusing tanks a lot, and that could be a direction we start to go. But for the moment, it's just mutually worse for every support.
Yeah.
Alrighty, next up, Stormrazor. Get some minor buffs, but you still like it?
Yes, a very impactful. Like a few breakpoints are now hit specifically for Kai'Sa, right? Because this item as a first item was just garbage. Now it buffs up your energizers. You need a Shiv, you need a Rapid Fire to be useful. And Kai'Sa mains were just like trying their double pickaxe build, going Bork, going IE all over the place. People have been like the changes are very new. People have been experimenting with Stormrazor first because now you get your upgrades like at a reasonably earlier time. It was only 5 AD and 5% attack speed, but Kai'Sa needs the E evolve. She wants the Q evolve to be useful, and her breakpoints in terms of timings are just getting lower and lower.
Yeah, that item needed a buff, and I feel like Kai'Sa is still the only one who really benefits the most from it in its current state. And that is because, you get an evolve now at approximately level 9 with a single item, Berserker Greaves and 2 daggers, which is what the old Kai'Sa had with the old Stormrazor. So that's one of those quality of life things that come back for her, and you're right. Like, that is the biggest impact on this item. One champion comes back a bit stronger.
But please don't run it if you're not running Fleet Footwork. For the love of everything that I hold dear. So, like, the one reason that, like, it works is, like, Fleet Footwork is counted as an energizer.
Yeah.
So it gives you, like, a slow. So you actually have legitimate punish potential with the upgrades, like, once you get the Fleet Footwork proc with the Stormrazor. If you're running Press the Attack Kai'Sa, go, like, BF double pickaxe still. Like, please.
Yeah, there are some people that go, like, the Rapid Fire Cannon maybe if you need it, right?
Yeah.
But you definitely want Fleet Footwork.
Yeah.
Unless you Imp. He hasn't yet.
All right. And then finally, Kayle and Morgana. Got the reworks.
Yep.
Now live for us. You got your sticky fingers into these characters. How do we feel about the champion reworks?
What do you think, Bryce?
Kayle, mega butthole. Maybe not entirely true.
Maybe not appropriate for sticky fingers.
Yeah. Whoopsie. Anyway, no. It's like she's genuinely well, I've seen a little bit. I haven't played her.
Okay.
I mean, you've probably played her.
Yeah.
I definitely, I just play support. So, I mean, if it's not in the bottom lane, I don't see much of it. I see bloody Tallywacker running around Summoner's Rift, and he's just kind of useless for, 11 levels, and then maybe if his team's kind of winning the game, then he can win.
Yeah.
And so, Kayle is that champion where she just gets hella boomed early and doesn't look that good, but she is new champion syndrome in that nobody knows what the actual build is. Nobody's figured out the best thing and how to play it. So in the next couple of weeks, there will be a definite answer as to whether she's good, bad, or in between.
Okay.
And we're not there yet.
Yeah. So I think, right, that Kayle is a good champion.
Okay.
I actually think that. And people haven't discovered what she has strengths in, but we've done some research as well as builds, things that people have been doing. There's a Korean guy that maxes W. There are things that you can do, and I think that you are correct that it's not a champion until at least level 6, right?
Yeah.
It gets stronger at 11, becomes insane at level 16, but still as a kit has got a lot of strength and can actually survive some lanes if you are counter picking.
Yeah.
So
She's
many
definitely a
lanes are
counter
bad
pick,
if you're blind picking.
Yeah.
Though.
She has the strongest level 1 of a top laner, I think, at the moment. Kayle, level 1, if you fight her as a melee champion, will kill you.
1v1 Darius level 1.
Okay,
Darius.
with the exception of Darius,
Okay.
who has literally the strongest level 1 of any champion ever. But I think playing a so a couple of things. There's that Bruiser build that you genuinely go your boots 2 Phage into Trinity Force into full AD, which covers up a ton of her mistakes, and she got nerfed. So, whilst I can appreciate that, I don't think she's been figured out, and I don't think that she'll be good in pro play, per se, I think that if, you're a solo queue player, she's actually, the opposite. I think she's, insanely strong. For a top laner to have as many 2v2 tools that are also useful in 1v1s, a heal that also heals next closest ally and speeds them up and speeds you up, and an invulnerable ultimate with the amount of scaling she has. If you're a solo queue top laner and people are just picking silly stuff into you, you 100% can just win games with Kayle at the moment, I think. I think she's good.
Yeah, I rate her.
You rate her? Yeah? All right.
Contrasting
I also rate
opinions.
Morgana with the other one that we saw getting changed.
Yeah, which obviously was not nearly as big of an overhaul, but
it was a single spell that was changed, right? You get move speed on the activation of your ultimate. But the thing is, that's just really good.
It's just
that is a thing
just a buff
that Morgana wants.
Yeah.
And that now she has that. And I'm someone who, when I went to China and tried to hard climb in solo queue, I played mid lane before I played support to a certain rank.
Yeah, okay.
And I played Morgana mid every single game.
You're
because
so gross.
I'm there to climb, not to have a good time, right? Until I have climb. Morgana does not lose anything, right?
Yeah.
And with this increase in movement speed, you just have the best time now. Like mid Morgana is actually stronger from this change as well.
Yeah, okay. Because it was just like a strict buff, and it's like almost, I look at it as a support main, I'm like, man, that's a visual update. I like that. She looks cooler now. There's also, I'm a bit of a Morgana Goblin in solo queue, and Morgana Goblins in solo queue is a real good time.
Do you think that a queue is bugged on the current one? I feel like it's got a bigger hitbox.
I don't know.
Look for it.
Okay, I will.
I think it's
Alrighty.
broken.
Now, we do need to do a bit of housekeeping because there is a scourge upon the OPL
scourge.
this evening. It is a scourge of
epidemic.
lateness. Obviously, we saw Order losing 3 bans for turning up late for the game. Mammoth have just lost all 5 of their bans.
Oh.
And if they are not ready to play in the next 11 minutes, then they forfeit the game.
11 minutes.
11 minutes.
Damn.
So
That's real bad for Order.
that is.
Forget every other
Gravitas
team.
still win.
Real bad for Order.
Gravitas are 1 game ahead of Order. So
Well, that would be
Yeah.
2 then. The head-to-head will not matter. But that's tough.
It is tough.
Because it's the Storms. For reference, like Order, Melbourne team.
You sound
Mammoth,
like a
Melbourne
crazy
team.
old weatherman.
I mean,
The Storms!
It's the Storms. But like, no, genuinely, like, it's like the flights are delayed and
Yeah.
everyone, like, it's not, like, yeah, people hear like, oh, they were late. It's like, yeah, they just didn't rock up at the office. It's like, no, like, travel, yeah, they're kind of getting boomed, which sucks.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to point
but-
out is people are like, well, Gravitas and, Bombers got here. Yeah, it's random planes. Like, Bryce and I were at the airport this morning. There was an 8:10 plane that was scheduled to leave at the same time as our plane, and like 4 planes had taken off for Sydney in the meantime. If I was those people on the 8:10 planes, I would be so mad.
I think that's because Melbourne's a terrible city. I think
It's actually landing
I
in
think that's why it can't. They just can't figure out time or something.
Who has the weather issues at the moment?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure if
I'm
you
pretty
go
sure it's
to
in the sky. so
Twitter.com/rustylol, there's many complaints about the
The
weather in Sydney.
Well, it was raining sideways.
it was very scary
That
yesterday.
is very weird.
I am just getting word that Mammoth have entered the building.
Oh, we have a game.
So we potentially do have a game. But yeah, the weather was scary yesterday in Sydney. Last night there was I had a shower, and you know how they like I hadn't really heard this advice, which is weird because I'm a grown adult. But I had a shower last night while the thunderstorm was going on, and I was just looking out the window, and it was just constant lightning. It was lightning for like 10 minutes. The sky basically stayed alight the entire time, and I walked out of the bathroom, and my partner was like, what were you doing? I was like, I was having a shower. She's like, you can't have a shower during a thunderstorm.
Really?
Yeah, because
Why?
like if the lightning hits the building and goes down the thing, and then I'm standing like covered in water, and so apparently that's not a thing. Or maybe she was just like using too much hot water. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
Is that a
Have you
thing?
heard that
No.
before?
But now I'm really scared.
I don't.
That
think
is-
it
I'm gonna look it up
That's
right
an
now.
aesthetic. That is like, you know what I mean?
Don't
Like,
think it
yeah,
is.
no. Well, first of all, you're just a pretentious. You have a window shower. That's just a little bit of a flex on everyone.
Very much
You're looking out the window whilst you're just having a nice hot shower. But then also like the thunderstorm. That's a pose.
Do you have eye contact space?
So I'm gonna give you something. I hopped in the shower and it was like I don't know, it was like 9:30 or something. So it was dark. Hop in, lightning everywhere. I'm like, oh, this is super cool. And then I look out the window and there's 2 people in the house next door to me, like enjoying an evening outside, just hanging out. And I was like, right, okay. If I could see you, you could definitely see me. And so I'm just standing here, like wet, terrified apparently that I could be electrocuted. So I hopped out of the shower and turned off the light and then hopped back into the shower. And then I was like, so now but then the whole time I'm like, I love watching people. Like I'm fascinated watching people. So then I was like, okay, now I'm in the shower naked with the lights off, watching
so
the next door
creepy now.
neighbors.
And they can't see you anymore. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, exactly.
But
yeah.
also, like, is it frosted glass or is it just a?
The bottom half is frosted,
Yeah,
the top
okay,
half is
okay,
clear.
okay.
So, Nick,
And
if
for
your
my
neighbors
partner,
come
she's
round
really
anymore-
short, so she's just frosted glass all the way. But then
Yeah.
I hop in and I'm like, I could just see right out.
I'm a mountain of a man.
Do your neighbors like ever come round? Do they know who you are?
Look, they've just moved in a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
so apparently they're getting a
So
real
they're probably
taste.
very uncomfortable already.
Yeah.
What if
and
they're just real big OPL fans and they're like,
what if they're watching right
yeah,
now?
they're like, oh yeah, we did see you last
They
night.
should
Hey,
ride into Nick Box.
Shout out to neighbors who are OPL fans. I was at home. Had daddy duties on Sunday.
Yep.
So Jasper and I was like, Jasper doesn't walk yet, and he's 15 months, and he's a big kid now. So I'm like, you got to walk. So I was like, I'm gonna walk you down to the corner. So I'm like, Jasper's holding onto my hands, and I'm like walking down the corner, and this guy doing his lawn, and I was like, oh hey dude, how are you? And he's like, yeah, good. And then I saw he had a Legacy jersey on.
Oh wow!
And he's like, you're Spawn. And I was like, please don't tell people I do. So now I'm going to be like, I'm on the front foot. I'm on the offensive. Yeah, I was walking Jasper down the street. That's what I do on my Sunday. Deal with it, random Legacy
Didn't you say
fan.
on Twitter you were going to have to move because you live next to a Legacy fan?
Absolutely. I don't like Legacy fans.
That's amazing. I will just add to cap off the shower story, because I'm now thinking about it, I'm realizing how creepy this is. That at the end, I walked out and Beck, she was like, "Well, you're doing having a shower. You can't have a shower." Blah blah blah. And then I said, "Well, the next door neighbors was there." She was like, "Were you like spying on the next door neighbors?" And I went, "No, of course not. That would be weird." But I realized that the window kept fogging up because of the hot water. If she walked in there, she would see greasy finger marks as I wiped the fog away to continue to be able to watch it. I mean, that's just... I feel like I'm a bad man, and it's probably time to throw to the next game. It is Mammoth versus Gravitas, and I think we broke Spawn.
God damn. That ending.
That was something.
I'm just saying.
That ending.
I didn't need those details.
Did you put your glasses on in the shower to get a better look?
Yeah, they fogged up as well, so I had to do the little, like little windshield wiper fingers.
Oh, no. All right, speaking of throwing the towel at least. I don't know. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Let's move on. It's Mammoth versus Gravitas. No bans on the Mammoth side, and it's very important that both these teams win the game. They are both in a playoff race, but only one can do it, Spot.
Yeah, absolutely, because if Gravitas win here, they will equal them on points, but not on head-to-head. Mammoth still have the 2 leads over Gravitas right now. So big game, because Gravitas seem to be a team on the up and up. And if any team is going to tilt off the planet and lose to the Direwolves right now, it's been proven to be Mammoth.
That's entirely possible.
No, it's not. They're not playing Direwolves.
Not this game. I mean, the next time they meet. That's got to happen in the future, right? I haven't checked the schedule for next week. We've got a couple of bans. The Lucian, the Vladimir comes in. Gravitas, as you pointed out, they do not have a possibility of getting the head-to-head over Mammoth. It's been 2-0. The last time they met was week 6. But Gravitas have since really surged up the standings, and now they sit 1 game in front of Order, even with the loss that Order just sustained.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that this is one of those games that if Gravitas are able to win it, it starts to put distance in between themselves and Order, which they would be hoping for. For Mammoth, then they can't become kind of the next target for Order, because Order play them next week and can win the head-to-head. And of course, the reason we're talking about Order so much is they're the team that is currently right now outside the top 5. And top 5 teams will be Gauntlet. And these are the 2 teams that are just inside at Pyro. 1 win for the Gravitas lineup, 2 wins for the Mammoth lineup. But things are set to change in the coming weeks.
Be a lot of shakeup of the standings in the last couple of games here. The regular split of the OPL. Mammoth taking their time. No bans, but they will get a chance to take the Alistar for Destiny.
Yeah, which is super interesting, right? Because Destiny doesn't normally get the Alistar. He normally has a couple of engaged supports thrown towards him. Wonder if Decoy's been practicing something like a Morgana counter pick. Maybe even a Soraka. We haven't seen Soraka yet. But if you can get the push in a lane against an Alistar with Soraka and you can E-max, you can really make his life miserable. You just put your E wherever he's headbutting to and he can't pole you. Like, he doesn't even have the option to try.
That just feels bad, man, if you're an Alistar. But they're not going to go for the support pickups quickly. It's a Rise locked in for Gravitas. Now, I'd say that's flexible, but it does feel like it'd much more be likely to be a Harry pick.
Absolutely. And we haven't seen Rise bottom lane yet in the OPL, although I think we saw it in the LCK a couple of times. And we haven't seen all that much of a top. I think Tally played a game of it.
Tally played a game of it.
I don't think Pabu has played a game of it. Pabu has played...
He's played a lot of carries, but not the Rise, I believe. I'd have to double check it, but I'm pretty sure that they haven't done it. Instead, they'll match supports. It is the Braum for Decoy, so it's tank v tank.
Yeah, makes sense. Price's team handshaking. Name a more iconic duo in the bottom lane. But I actually, so for me, I prefer the Braum in this matchup. And the reason that's interesting is because a lot of support players will take Alistar for the laning phase potential, but I think Braum is a far superior team fighter. 5 auto attacks, and Braum's the best champion in the game.
But how do you feel about pairing it up with a Kalista? The Alistar-Kalista combo is a deadly 1-2 punch there in the bottom lane.
Ezreal lives through everything. It takes
That's true, he
teleport,
does.
can build Tabby or can build Merc Treads, goes, you know, very cheap item build that also has armor in it.
And then if you get fed, you can go Trinity Force, as we saw last time. But this is kind of a dunk squad for Mammoth.
I like Mammoth's comp. Whilst I like Braum, and I could talk about Braum for a very long time, he has glorious mustache. Do you know what the best Braum skin is?
What is the
best
best
Santa Braum skin.
Really?
You know why it is the best
'Cause of the
skin?
Poro
Because he has a
reindeer.
glorious beard as well as
okay.
the mustache.
I was going to go with the Poro reindeer.
No, nothing to do with in-game stuff. Purely the splash. His beard is like luscious in that splash ass. That actually, I shaved my beard off because I just knew it would never amount to anything like the Santa Braum skin.
I was kind of hoping you would have stuck with the mustache and you could have looked more like the
normal Braum.
No, well that, but also the fantasy skin, the Braum Lionheart, I think.
Ah, yeah.
It's called. Yeah, I love that one too because I'm just kind of beginning into D&D the last year.
Yeah,
so it's kind
I
of
like Bald
emblematic.
Spot Gragas in that skin as well.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean actually all those skins are pretty cool. I hope the Rise actually goes for that one as well. Now we're in the next ban phase. Still no bans on the Mammoth side, but Syndra's off the board up against Triple.
Yep.
And that Ezreal lock-in was no surprise, as you had alluded to earlier on. So Gravitas going for, it looks like it could be setting up for 1-3-1 composition.
Yeah, certainly could be, and they're going against a very hard engage composition if that's the case. So, you know, you got to watch the conflicting style coming in here. I want to see what they play mid lane here on the side of Mammoth, because they can hold that Rise flex pick until the very end, and there are some cheeky Yasuo players running around in this game.
And
Triple's
there's
a
a couple of
Yasuo player,
knockups.
as well as Carey being a Yasuo player.
That's all the bans, too, being spent right now
There's
by
one
Gravitas.
In my opinion, there's one way to get team fighting back on this lineup, and that's to like go Sejuani Yasuo or Sejuani Aurelia. If that's the case in your Gravitas, like your team fight then becomes like real good against all this mid-range. So
That's 4 knockups on one team comp. Gravitas have to be aware of that right now. Now, they could take the Yasuo as well. We've seen Gravitas try to run that composition in the past.
Harry's a really good Yasuo player. Plays Odyssey Yasuo as well most of the time. Although in saying that, I think he played Demon Blade last time and tilted me off the earth.
Yeah, the Odyssey skin is pretty cool.
Odyssey skin, like Odyssey Kayn and Odyssey Yasuo, are the only 2 that should be played now. If you play any other skin, you're wrong.
Ooh. This is just playing with me right now.
Yeah, there's no way Vi's going to be locked in.
It did receive a couple of changes, some buffs on that last patch, but Rek'Sai so much better at being able to get things done, and it gets locked in for Praelus. Mammoth, back over to them, eyeballing their mid lane pick. What will Triple do?
Yeah, and this is really important because they've held the flex until the very end, so now this is like blind counter picking. So a couple of options. You take the 2 best champions available and you just disregard the Rise at all and say they're going to get a good lane in, you know, at least one of the lanes. The other thing, you double counter pick Rise. You know, if there's something that does well into Rise top as well as Rise mid, you can start taking that. Or you take yourself, like, if you're Avant, maybe you take yourself like 2 wacky flex picks. Like you go like Jace, Mordekaiser. He can be played top lane, sure, why not? And you say, you know, we're just going to keep swapping these picks until like we get the matchup we want. I like the Lissandra there. Cannon's also very good.
This
That's
is
a big
another
team
team
fight
fighting pickup for sure. So that should go Tapoon's way, and Triple should get his hands on Lissandra. There's a lot of lockdown, a lot of combo potential. How do Gravitas respond?
When did we see Cannon mid last? I was a real big Cannon mid player when it was around. He has really good wave clear with his
I've seen an 80 carry more recently than that, and that was when Reckless was going on.
Yeah.
But that was a while back. And here's a safe pickup. I wouldn't be too surprised to see this fall into Harry's hands. Really lends a lot to that 1-3-1, and that means Pabu should be the one on the rise.
Yeah, up 2 snuffs and got him an ace machine. I love Corky.
That is the quote. Can you do it in the voice, though?
Sure.
You're not going to, are you?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Man, you are such a tease. All right, Corky locked in for Gravitas. How do you like these 2 comps now that we've seen everything, Spawn?
I think really good 1-3-1 comp coming out of Gravitas. I think they're going to struggle to team fight in saying that, and I also think they struggle to get things off their carries, which might not be a problem because they have 2 pretty slippery carries in their own right. Got themselves the package that's going to be there, as well as you know, the not regular Valkyrie, Essence Shift, things like that, to be able to kind of navigate this. But as soon as one of them gets tied down, they are in big trouble. And I'm kind of surprised that Raid is sticking with the teleport here, because if there's ever a matchup to kind of try and take cleanse, I would say it is against a Kennen as well as a Lissandra. he might get dove on and he just might die.
Yeah, that could be a bit of a roughie for sure. So we'll have to see how it all breaks down. One game separating these two teams, both in the hunt for the gauntlet. They only need to make top 5, but Order's nipping at their heels from one side. They want to get up and ahead of teams like Avant on the other. It is certainly going to be a tough one. So we'll find out who ends up taking it after this. And, you know, I think it just comes down to who's going to play the style they prefer overall, Spawn.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm really interested in this one because I think that Gravitas right now, if you look at their last 4 weeks of play, are one of the hottest teams in the OPL. I also think that Mammoth are on the up and up, but they have had big stumbling blocks, and I think it's because we're measuring them against 2 different things. I wanted at the start of this year Mammoth to be taking games off the likes of the Chiefs, the likes of the Bombers, whereas Gravitas, I thought that if this team could get into that, you know, third, fourth place spot, that they'd had a really good split because I think their upside on people like Praelis and Harry is just so much higher. So, you know, 2 different measuring sticks right now, but very curious to see how Gravitas do today.
Well, let's take the measure of Gravitas' coach. We've got Juves once again. Thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, nice to be here. Nice to be here on this special round. Really good cause. So
it is a good cause.
Yeah.
You were the ambassador last year, weren't you?
Yeah. I was. Yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
How was that experience? It's definitely one of my proudest moments as a player and probably a person. So I still represent. I still fly that flag proudly. So yeah, every time that there's a cause like this and the OPL partners with organizations like this, it really like makes me happy, and I think it's the support from the community is like a testament to how valuable this really is. So yeah.
Well said, Juves. Well said indeed. Let's talk a little bit about the game here and how you guys prepared for this one. Gravitas Mammoth, it's a tough one. You haven't beaten them today. You want to give us a little insight on what you said to the team ahead of time?
I just told them, I go, I'm very proud of everyone so far this season, and I said you should be proud of each other as well. And this is a game where we can win. Like I would say, this is a game where like our draft. I would say personally, our draft is good. Our draft matches up well against theirs. There's no reason why we can't take this game to them. And don't be scared. Don't be nervous. You know, this is a game again that we aren't quote unquote expected to win. So let's just
Oh, it's a rough start here. Let's see who's going to get the first blood. King forced to flash away. Praelis burning down. He lives, though. No one's gone down. Even the red buff still in the contest as Raid is going to find King.
Can he get
There is the first blood, looking for even more, but he's not able to get it down, and the smite comes in for Praelis, I believe. But it's Babip that picks up the red buff.
They're teleporting back, Pyra. Sorry, Juice. You might have to hold that thought a little bit longer.
I'm sweating and I'm holding.
First blood, though, picked up. Let's see if Gravitas can walk away. Raid taking a couple of spears. That's 3 already inside of him. And King gets the damage for the finisher. It's 1 for 1.
So first blood to both, to Raid, and then 80 carry picks up another one. Who are you guys playing tomorrow?
Legacy.
All right.
What is going on?
Hold that thought again.
All right, we might have to cut this one a little short because Gravitas just want to fight, and Praelis looking to cut off Destiny. The blue buff is even in the mix, and Raid picks a kill back up himself.
All chat remake?
I just don't understand.
Remake?
Like I'm trying to, you know, when you run the numbers and you try to make sense of everything. I think I'm going to have to message my accountant tomorrow and say what's happened here. I think there's a glitch in the matrix.
Doesn't add up.
No.
All right. Well,
where will we?
This would be about the time we send Joff.
Oh, okay.
I suppose we can still keep it going. Maybe not. They're still fighting. Okay. All right, Juice.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us, man. You've
Thanks
been awesome.
for having me, guys.
Well, that was an interesting start. 1-2 in kills. Gravitas with the lead, though.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 kills onto the Ezreal is a massive deal, Pyra. Who did he say he's playing tomorrow?
Who are Gravitas playing tomorrow? They're playing Legacy.
Legacy. Okay, so this is their hard game of the week, and I was going to say a lot of their prep would have gone into it. And the reason I brought that up is because that was a very premeditated invade, I think, coming across. Now Harry being targeted a little bit, but has double summoner spells.
Yeah,
so
he's one of the few on his team that does right now. Still getting a little damage dish there as Babip's wrapping around in a red buff. He's going to try and take it away.
He started it.
Praelis is here, though.
Pyra, I can't believe he started it.
Yeah, he did.
Why did he start that?
Wait, the Praise Seeker. The Praelis Seeker. He gets the smite down! Oh, boy. Now the chase is on. Level 2 versus level 3, and Praelis is still going here. It looks like Harry's going to try and come to cut him off through the river. Not going to happen, and even Pabu's there. Dark Crystal Rise.
Yeah, it certainly is. But now he can. Oh, he doesn't invade the blue. I was going to say now he can keep going. He's got, you know, good prio top, good prio mid. Like, get in there, keep the battling going. But it's not going to be the case, Byron. So we take a deep breath and we have kind of standard lanes.
Okay, everyone relaxes after a minute. It's a weird couple to start things off here with kills being picked up by both the AD carries down bot. The lion's share, of course, going over to Raid. King did get one back for himself, but neither have been able to really back since then. You could see some of the gold coming in from the Klepto as well for Raid, as he also has a decent farm advantage, but that'll get turned around as King gets minions fed straight into his lane.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think this is a really good start right now for the Gravitas lineup. They've got their lane that we kind of were looking at as potentially being gankable level 6, and, you know, good setup and everything you want on a Mammoth bottom lane. Kind of reverse, because they gave 2 kills over, and now he's laning against a Sheen, and he only has a Dorian's Blade. That feels real crap.
That does. It's definitely a little bit on the no bueno side. Checking back on the other side of the map, Tapoon will teleport back up after backing away. He's actually done pretty decent. This has been the quieter part. Pabu wanted a piece of the action as he went to go chase down Babip off of the jungle pathing that he took, but couldn't quite get there in time. And I am really curious to see how Pabu does on this Rise. I checked it during the interview. He has not played at this split yet. I don't recall the last time I've seen him on a champion like this.
Yeah, however, speaking from solo queue only, I think that, you know, he does play some mages when he gets the opportunity. He's also been a bit of a, you know, cheeky top lane picker in the past. He likes to remind people that he played things like Claire. He was a big Renekton player when he first came into the OPL. So I think that, you know, he would be very familiar with the champion. I expect him to be able to play it to a high level.
But for double tier on Gravitas, they'll definitely be happy if this game goes a little bit longer for sure. We're still in the very early stages. And this is the first time that we've had a dragon that's not the exciting variety spawn. It's Cloud Drake.
Absolutely. However, still pretty good for, I think, the Mammoth composition if they're able to pick up a Cloud.
Setting up team fights could certainly be big for them, but they don't have control of this part of the map just yet.
Yeah, in saying that, I mean, if a team wants something, you kind of want to take it away, so you can make a case that, you know, just getting a little bit more movement speed to be able to get away from some of these engages could be pretty massive.
Speaking of engages, Babip waiting in the brush, so is Destiny. King trying to put on his best acting impression here. Let's see. Gravitas aren't really keen to go too far forward, but there's a big wave building.
Yeah, the reason they're not keen to go too far forward right now is they've got eyes in the bottom river, and there's nowhere else Babip could be. Instead, they're just going to start up the dragon. Really good play here from the Gravitas lineup.
Yeah, smart. Really not a whole lot that Mammoth could do to contest this, as nobody's in the right position for it. Pings, question marks. They have to know that this is going down, and it does get picked up by Gravitas. Now, even though this is something they wanted to take away from Mammoth, I feel like you can also make the case that they want this so they can pull the 1-3-1 off more effectively.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Oh, that's the E used, however. He can get flashed on now.
Oh, there we go. And the cow goes in, but Raid flashes out. Trade of flashes.
Yeah, really nicely done, however, there by the Mammoth lineup. As soon as he used that E to try and proc the W, it was going to be on, and I think that that's a nice, healthy respect flash there from Raid. You already made the mistake. You don't compound it by holding that summoner spell and trying to outplay.
You do not.
Oh,
hello. Okay.
Got bopped.
Yeah. King takes a heaping helping of damage. Still picking up a lot of farm here as he pushes the minions through. The Hex Flash coming, and Destiny. Just a little bit of a bait. A lot of vision invested by Gravitas in this bottom river, by the way. One of them will be cleared out by King.
But they already did their job, right? They got themselves that dragon nice and early. They ticked it over to hopefully a more useful dragon. I didn't catch what the second dragon of the game was going to be. And they were able to generate a lot of bottom and mid lane priority, right? So I think that they wouldn't be too upset. There's only one pink ward remaining, and it's another air. So unfortunately, they spent, you know, 4 control wards to get themselves a second air dragon. Bummer.
Right. Well, I mean, there can be some real speedy boys if they pick that one up too.
Yeah, but one dragon, you know, you can say, oh, it will be helpful in the 1-3-1. When you're starting to stack 2-3 dragons, you're like, if I had any other dragon, that would actually be useful.
Yeah, Mountain Dragon would be great for 1-3-1. Yeah. You know, even the Ocean's great because you go back and heal up.
Prayless
runs face first into Triple. The old Son, he's into Harry, and Triple doesn't care. Going for the 1v2 kill, and it's Babip that tags his way in. Nicely done.
Yeah, I mean, that was an aggressive flash out of Babip. Didn't even know whether he had to use it. Triple still had his available. Prayless, as soon as he flashed forward, was always going to be up against it. And once again, Raid shifting aggressively forward. I think this bottom lane of Gravitas, by the way, just on like a side note, has really stepped up for the team. I've been super impressed by Raid and Decoy. I think they're a pretty formidable lane. In saying that, if I was going to take a lane that is actually right now like 2v2, incredibly scary to play against, I would say it's King and Destiny. Those guys seem to have found that next gear that Mammoth have been searching for, and I think they're in a good spot at the moment.
Speaking of good spots, Pabu forces Tapoon a little bit further back there, and I think that's a good point. You know, you really got to start comparing a little bit in the way the AD carries have stepped up and their supports, dual laners, just really improving over the course of the split. Here comes Babip. Prayerless not far behind. Looking for a lane gank here. Preyseeker's not going to find him.
Here
And
we
there's
go.
the flash into the Slicing Maelstrom. There's the stun and the dunk. Looking for Pabu. Teleport
They're gonna
comes
get
in,
him.
and he's actually turned it right on around Tapoon, though, a little bit low. And Raid comes in to finish the job. Babip flags and drags and takes a chunk of damage from the true shot. But they will cut their losses at 1.
Yeah, and that's really nicely played there from the Gravitas lineup, because you think Harry doesn't have TP. He can't join that play, but instead they call upon Raid, that 80 carry that we're talking about. They get him up into that top lane. They're able to turn the gank. And yes, they will lose some turret plate here, but overall, you have to say, very creative play coming out of the Gravitas lineup.
Yeah, nets them a little bit more damage. Another kill. This time it goes the way of Prayerless, and good start here. The Gravitas dual lane, they extend that gold lead. It's about 2,000 over Mammoth in this game. 10 minutes on the clock right now. And you just never know where Gravitas are going to strike.
And one more level, and this is where the Corky build starts becoming really scary. Sheen plus level 5 Phosphorus Bomb. Oh,
Hex Flash. Destiny just keeps taking those back. Baits every time.
Certainly does. Yeah, but I was saying, rank 5 Phosphorus Bomb plus your big 1 rockets. You can start landing some serious poke with that Sheen coming in.
That's true. Yeah, we checked back in with him a little while ago, and he'd actually gone for the Merc Treads first, and now he's got a little more damage in his pocket. Speaking of damage and some slows, Raid's got his Iceborne Gauntlet done already. So this is starting to come online for Gravitas. Meanwhile, a bit of a scrap in the mid lane between Triple and Harry. Triple is playing without fear at all this game.
Do you have Dancing with the Stars, where you're from?
Yes, we do. I believe we were the first.
Were you?
Yeah,
I don't really
pretty
care
sure.
all that much. Triple, OPL, Dancing with the Stars, just there. You see a little quick footwork.
It's complete footwork without having to take the rim.
I like it.
I dig it. Is it actually footwork if you're kind of like moving around on like icy ground? That's what Lysandra does.
That is a very good question.
It's more like shuffling with the stars.
Yep, the answer is I don't know.
Fair enough.
But I would argue shuffling is a dance.
It is a type of dance, yes.
So it could be Dancing with the Stars.
Tapoon.
That's a bad ultimate.
That is an unfortunate
And he
maelstrom.
does. Oh, he does a fake a head roll.
Yikes.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't catch it. I was just watching what he was doing up screen.
Yeah.
A little like the
A little bit of the tilted fake a head roll.
Okay.
I like that. That shows swagger. If you're willing to copy the mannerisms of Faker, that shows some real swagger.
We're going deep into analyzing the players and the little things they
psyche
do.
of, yeah, absolutely.
That's what we do. Okay, 12 minutes. Gold game. Pretty close to evened up, actually. Mammoth has started to close that gap pretty effectively. Looks like a lot of that's off the farm game.
Yeah, very good farm in the mid lane is what I was going to say. Oh,
Decoy's caught out for a second. He's able to hop back in front of Raid, though. True Shot Barrage clears the wave, clips onto King and Destiny. And Raid can just keep on poking away. It's a great job for this Ezreal.
Yeah, generating some massive priority down here off some shops. And with that, might be able to look towards a second dragon. You can see that Babbitt very aware that that might be the case. So instead, goes towards bottom side. Teleport is available for the top laners right now. So if anything did happen bottom or mid, you'd expect a bit of a party potentially to start up.
Certainly haven't seen shy of a whole lot of things starting in this game. Just got to remember how it all began with that invade. But Gravitas in the last couple of minutes have pumped the brakes a little bit. This is opening up an opportunity for this Cloud Dragon to go the way of Mammoth.
Yeah, they know what's going on. However, if you go down a little bit, thank you, Mr. Reserver, you'll see the ward over on the blast plant. No, on the left-hand side of the screen, we just caught it.
Yep.
So don't stress.
There it is.
That one right there. Very good ward against Jarvan, Rek'Sai, Lee Sin, anyone that can hop over the back of the pit. Want to keep that blast plant warded as much as possible. Also allows you to safely set up ganks if you can with something like a Rek'Sai if you want to go through mid lane towards bot because they have bot try warded. Overall, just very good positioning of the wards from the Gravitas lineup. Of course, if you want any other helpful tips on warding, go check out EGM's warding tutorial. Still his most liked, commented, and retweeted thing on his Twitter profile.
Nice little bump there. I like it.
Have you watched it?
I have not.
He teaches
I'm
you how to
also
do all
bad
the-
at warding, coincidentally.
He teaches you how to do all the tricky ones. It's actually really
Okay.
good.
No, maybe I'll have to. You got to link me after this.
Maybe first genuine compliment I've given Bryce since you stopped playing Pro.
You know, I actually believe that to be true.
It may be.
Just knowing how you guys interact. All right. So speaking of speedy boys, Mammoth, they get themselves a Cloud Dragon to even up on Gravitas. But there also are a couple of Hextech Protobelts here. So you can tell that Mammoth are going to want to go in, get some Thunderdome action going on between Tapoon and Babip. But this top lane has been a little bit of back and forth. It does seem like it's been Pabu's for the most part. which I feel like I'm a little surprised at. Tapoon has just kind of stepped up so much this split. I forget often that he's a rookie.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think at the same time, Kennen can only do so much, right? And he's gated by the length of his auto attacks primarily, which Rise can train back on. Oh, King has to flash.
Yeah, he was a little forward in the 1v2.
Yeah, that's a little bit curious because I normally applaud King on his weak side play. And burning a flash on weak side, not something we're used to seeing from him.
No, and you can see the Rek'Sai coming in as well. Destiny,
now they
what's
go
going
over.
on down there? Gonna try to get that knock up onto the Rek'Sai they go. It's just a couple of shots as they take out a few Krugs, but Gravitas pushing deep as the wave comes crashing into the tower. Rift Herald is gonna get popped in the top, and we're in for a trade of towers.
Yeah, certainly are, which is really curious, right? Because now they're trying to get all this gold onto Tapoon. Well, they actually defend here.
Yeah, it looks like Mammoth might be able to push
They're
them off.
teleporting.
They're going to go Fate's Call into the knockup from the Braum. Triple coming around the side looking for the play. He's exhausted, but they do get the lockdown onto Decoy, taking him down. King pulls out the Ren stacks. Tower getting taken out in the favor of Mammoth. The fight's still going. Destiny gives his life. The double kill going to King.
And there's no package.
It's still going. Harry tries to finish the job, but the Gatling gun isn't enough. Meanwhile, the fight's going on. Tier 2, Pabu, he's going to die, and Mammoth, they keep pushing. Are you kidding me?
An absolute disaster for the Gravitas lineup. They thought they were splitting the map, but apparently Mammoth don't play Handshake League of Legends. They teleport on the bottom lane. They win that trade 2-for-1. Then they take 2 turrets as well as a top lane and another charge, if you do not mind, from Shally, and bust open the game.
MVP Rift Herald taking not 1, not 2, but 3 charges down the line. And now, as we get closer to that 16-minute mark, Mammoth have charged ahead to a 1,500 gold lead from a deficit earlier on. And King picks up 2 kills in that skirmish down bot.
Yeah, which is really key, right? Because the Ezreal scaling was about to come online, and I like the fact that they're willing to try and fight this one. We mentioned how many go tools they have. First one, headbutt pole. Fate's Call comes in into another knockup. Then triple follows up. Praylist says, okay, our mid laner is coming. He's super strong. Let's go. But he just underestimates the damage coming out. They do get the summoner spell, which is something. And then it looks like potentially Harry going to be able to do something here, but not the case. And top lane, Space Jam just happening. A little bit of dunk action from Babip.
Well, Pablo looked like he's the one who got slammed on. So, a lot of things happening in a space of just a minute, and it nets Mammoth an advantage. And now, Gravitas, keen to try and correct that. You can see them moving in mass through this river. Another dragon due to spawn soon, and it's an Infernal. This is something both teams will absolutely have their eyes on.
Yeah, completely agree. And the advantage that Mammoth got from that is they can push top lane out further, right? So they can keep Tapoon in the play for longer than Pabu, because eventually Pabu does have to go answer that lane. Meanwhile, you've kind of nullified the advantage that the Ezreal has. They go again.
2-man knock-up in off the Fate's Call, trying to keep them locked up, and Gravitas scrambling. In comes the Jarvan into the knock-up. True Shot Barrage, and Babip doesn't know what hit him. Gravitas on the defense, on the disengage, take the kill.
Yeah, that was a bit of a silly play, I think, out of the Mammoth lineup. They didn't have any of their CC or damage with them, and they just threw the 2 support members in.
Well, look, you try to go for the dunks. Sometimes you get smacked down. Babip finds that one out the hard way. Now Mammoth do try to push a wave into mid, but Harry and Pabu are there. Plenty of wave clear. Gravitas not going to be stymied so easily.
Yeah, split comms here.
All right, Triple, he goes in. He takes a lot more damage than he gives. However, into the knockup he goes. Harry forced to flash away.
Pabu.
And Pabu taking out Destiny on the final shot, bringing the party portal. Looking for even more as Triple gets shut down by Harry, and the charge is still on to King.
Ultimate.
Shots flying all over the place, and Rek'Sai gets a finishing blow.
And Tapu needs to make something happen here.
Here he goes once more, but he has no backup this time around, trying to find it on the Slicing Maelstrom. He's taken out the double kill, the dunk denied. True Shot not even needed, and that's an ace.
And Para, I have no idea what the heck is going on, because Mammoth just one at a time walking into the Gravitas lineup. I just keep getting denied.
Yeah, they just kind of walked it out, and that was a little bit weird to see. They tried to make something out of nothing. I mean, I applaud Tapoon's effort to try and finish the job, but he just doesn't have enough damage sitting on just a couple of pieces as well as his Hextech Proto Belt. It feels like Gravitas are the team on the same page, and Mammoth, right there, we're not.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at it, because let's set this up, right? You can see Destiny's already gone topside, so he obviously doesn't want to fight the dragon. Then Triple goes in. This looks like a 3v2, you know. Interrupt there. However, he still has that flash available. Pabu has just been sitting there putting damage after damage into these players. As soon as King gets tagged up by the Prey Seeker. Bang! He's dead. No point using anything to try and get away there. And at this point, you're like, okay, we lost 3 members. Maybe we can still fight Dragon. Nah, let's just go in and try and fight some more. You know, Babip is like, hey guys, I've been alive for, I think, roughly 20 seconds. I want to die again. And so he does.
Yeah.
No one can deny that he died again.
We have video evidence.
We do.
To show that. So yeah,
conclusive proof.
Mammoth really kind of getting some blood in their eyes a bit as another attempt goes through, but Raid has already gotten out of harm's way. Destiny getting the knockback on a decoy. It's a double knock up there. True Shot Barrage coming through, forcing the flash out of King. They do get the kill this time, but a heavy investment to secure it onto decoy.
Certainly is, and we're approaching that kill a minute mark, that real dangerous part of the game that turns any game into a fiesta. So, good job, Pabu. You've done your... Oh, no. Yep, he has. He's done his job. He took bottom lane turret, then he got some good trade damage, and he's backed away. Some clean macro there.
All right, so it's been a ballroom blitz for the last couple of minutes. Let's talk about what this has netted the teams in terms of items. You start to look at the things that have been completed. We'd already talked about Harry having his Trinity Force, but he adds his Zeal to that, working towards more items. Prayless has a Black Cleaver. I mean, these are the builds of teams that want to just keep scrapping.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think Harry going to be very scary as soon as he reaches that Energizer item, and I think that, you know, nothing really petrifies me more than Rapid Fire Cannon, i.e. Trinity Force Corki mid lane.
Yeah, he
just puts on the Gatling gun and he just like hits you once, and it does so much damage. At the same time, kind of netted Pabu the ability to come back into the game, taking the turret, getting those couple of kills in the mid lane was certainly very good for the Rise. Yeah. But I think it's more team mentality-wise. Like, Mammoth were rolling, right? They had the win on the top side of the map, the win on the bottom side of the map. Everything's going our favor. We can do anything we want. Gravitas playing on the back foot. Then they overreach and they're like, okay, cool. We win fights now. Gravitas are like, we don't need to be afraid of them. We can just take whatever we want. And I think that that changes the mentality. You can see that because they've pushed up some good vision. That's the weak side vision, top lane, that Harry's going to be playing around. And mid lane, they're looking for first access to this creep wave. Just, you know, good 1-3-1 being set up right now.
And that's what the composition can do. So we've seen them be able to fight, be able to skirmish effectively, taking advantage of Mammoth's lapses in positioning and numbers, but they're also playing to the win condition they set up for themselves. That side lane play. Now using Harry onto the top side. Triple's going to have to back away after pushing one wave. Baron vision is, of course, a pretty big thing here in this game. And these fights being as decisive as they have been, you have to think could turn into a Baron very quickly, especially when there's a Callista on one side.
Yeah, it certainly could. We do have to talk about Callista's changes here, the fact that she can't rend Baron from quite as high. So not as, I guess, oppressive as it was in the past. And that's mid lane turret going to fall. So now that turrets have been evened out, you'd have to say probably more impactful is a mid lane turret than the 2 turrets taken on the top side of the map.
Gravitas now take control of the Baron side of the river.
And this is what Superior at mid lane kind of gives you. And that's what Ezreal brings to a lot of comp. Braum's really good at it as well, because if you don't want them to get priority, you just put your shield up on the creeps and they can never hit it first. Ezreal at the same time, just very good at doing this, throwing skill shots at the creep wave, you know, trimming it out time and time again. So they've really got their teeth stuck into that 1-3-1 right now, and I don't know how Mammoth really pull them out of it. I think they have to wait for both their teleports to be up and try and get some form of flank.
I think that's exactly it. You've got 3 TPs up at the moment. You've got a death cap just completed by Tapoon. He's going to have to come in on a flank TP and try to pull one of those crazy mimic ultimates that we saw several weeks ago. I would love to see that, but Gravitas, they just seem to be slippery right now, and playing on the 1-3-1's not going to afford Mammoth that opportunity.
Yeah, and everyone's kind of got themselves a stopwatch that needs it. You know, the Rek'Sai's got one who's pretty squishy at the moment, as well as a Corki, and Ezreal kind of is slippery enough. You know, you've still got exhaust coming through from Decoy, so you don't expect him to get blown up. So,
not to mention the Banshee's Veil for the Rise.
Yeah, well, Rise probably isn't the target as soon as that Seraph's evolves, just because he's going to have a massive shield off the back end. So, you know, you'd rather take out someone like the Corki, like the Rek'Sai. King nearly face check there. He looks a bit out of
the dragon. Harry finds Destiny. This is another Infernal spawning, by the way.
Teleport
and King is deleted by Prayless with a little bit of help from Raid onto the front line. He goes chasing Babip away.
Oh!
And he's got so much chunk damage on this Ezreal.
And that's just going to be another Infernal. In fact, are they heading towards Baron? No, they're not. They're just sending Pabu top lane. But Gravitas right now just have complete control of this game.
Going to be taken in full vision of Mammoth, but they can't really do much but watch it happen here. No cheeky steal attempts coming through. A second Infernal Dragon. How about that? 16% AD
collapse
and
mid
AP as the
lane.
game goes on. Collapsing into the mid, looking for more damage onto Destiny. They got the cow stunned up, down to half his health bar. And look at the poke that comes out of Gravitas.
Yeah, has to flash there, and you can see the transform complete for Raid as well as building towards that Seraph. They'll also take a red buff.
Triple! What was he doing? He couldn't even blast cone it. Oh, this is starting to get out of hand here. If you're Mammoth, they're finding themselves down at 4,000 gold. Baron being sniffed at here by Gravitas, but they're content to just secure vision for now.
Yeah, they certainly are. And once again, this is a really good win. If Gravitas pick it up, they equal the points of the Mammoth lineup. They don't have head-to-head, but it would be a huge mental win, I think, for this young team, and they would really start believing. At the same time, you have a look at the Mammoth lineup and you think if they're not fighting now and they're not winning fights now, when are they going to start winning fights? Because the 1-3-1's just getting more and more devastating, Pyro. They're picking up more gold on the map than what the Mammoth lineup are able to.
And you talk about records right now. While Mammoth are the ones that are a game ahead of Gravitas, that could change after this, of course, they've got a tough schedule going forward. They have to face off against Chiefs tomorrow, where Gravitas have Legacy. You have to just look at the score lines to know, okay, I know which of those two games I'd rather have. So Mammoth, it just doesn't get any easier from here on out.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't. They don't have anyone that can answer Pabu right now. He's a monster in the side lane, maybe building towards that Rylai's Crystal Scepter as well that makes Rise just impossible to 1v1.
And impossible to get away from.
Continually applies that slow. Destiny's just half health every time I look at it.
He just keeps taking damage on the front line. I bet he wishes he had Braum right now. This is just getting rough as Gravitas slowly taking everything away, stealing away as much of the jungle. In fact, they're kind of just forcing Mammoth out of their own jungle and then just grabbing it all.
Yeah,
pulling them away.
And you can see that like they're making them burn resources and trying to keep turrets alive. That was a proto belt used there for Topoon. He's already half health. He's the guy that needs to be getting the 5-man slicing Maelstrom without exhaust being available if they want to win this team fight. And it's just not going to happen. Gravitas have complete control of the top side of the map. Topoon is about to die.
Yeah, Pabu goes running for him and forces Topoon to zoom away, and he's just content to keep him pushed back under tower every time. Topoon having a hard time this game, and that's not something we usually see in Mammoth's matches. This young rookie has been on fire lately, but Pabu really putting him on the back foot.
Certainly is. Pabu had a rough start to this game. You've got to remember the first two Jarvan ults were used on him, and the Rift Herald took 2 of his turrets down, but the ability to stay composed and really stay in this game has been super impressive. Now Triple's about to get 4-man dove.
Yep, here's Destiny. All right, Gravitas, back away. Vision for both teams inside and around the Baron pit. Neither team is going to go for it right away, not without taking a fight, taking a pick. Gravitas can afford to be patient, though. They've got the lead, they've got map control, and heck, they've even got some scaling.
They've got great scaling. Ezreal is one of the best scaling AD carries in the game. Corki is probably the best scaling AD carry in the game, and Harry's that ahead of the clock that he feels comfortable going for something like a Hex Trinket, even though he has Cleanse, Stopwatch, and Merc Tread. So that just shows the fact that they're not concerned about ending this game anytime soon. They're happy with the state of it.
And it's just going to keep going for now. So 27.5 minutes into this game, Gravitas trying to widen this gold lead, but it's still sitting at about that 4,000 mark. Mammoth going to keep trying to keep pace with them, but it does seem like this is going to turn onto the Baron, and Mammoth, they'll need to hope that they can win a fight around there.
Yeah, well, that's what they're actually hoping for, right? So if you're a Mammoth fan right now, you're looking at it and you're saying, if they all crowd into a Baron pit, we will win a team fight, you know, if we're second there. In saying that, if they're first, they certainly won't.
Destiny looking to go in, and this is why the Ezreal is such a great pick. Staying safe. Can't engage onto him easily enough as long as he still has E in his back pocket.
And they know whether they're heading towards Baron off this because of that very cheeky ward in the middle of the lane. Just shows which side of the map they're going to. They probably know that Topoon exited bottom side, and they know that the 4 members went towards Baron, so they can have a look, they can group. That's the ward I was talking about right there, and look how far up Pabu can catch this wave right now.
All right, Mammoth chase back into their own jungle here. Pabu, not afraid of the Claude, actually hangs onto his spell shield. It's going to get taken out there by King. But Gravitas still controlling the neutral side of the map, and they can wait a little longer. There's another dragon spawning. Didn't catch which element it was. But Gravitas are 3 for 4 this game, and wouldn't you know it, it's a third Infernal.
So you have to fight it, because otherwise they just have so many more stats than you. But are you in a position to be able to do so? Mid lane not pushed out. Bottom lane is pushed out and top lane pushed out. So potentially this is the one that you can go on, but triple is so far away. No teleport. I don't think that they can even get here to contest.
They're just trying to zone him away. This could be a steal attempt from Babbitt if you get onto the opposite side.
No,
You can see Praelis has already started this one off, and it turns around. It's going to melt so fast. Mammoth don't have the opportunity. That's 3 Infernals for Gravitas. That is a lot of extra damage.
Yeah, it certainly is, and they have the champions that just take perfect. You know, they capitalize on it so well. Corki, one of the best scaling champions in the game. Ezreal is top as well. That's going to be a Gunblade Ezreal picked up. And even Rise, you know, say what you will about Pabu's build, it's not the most AP at the moment, but eventually he'll like to get himself a death cap, and then he's going to have a ton of AP.
Yeah, I mean, if he's doing the worst on the team, he's just fine. He's going to be laughing all the way to the bank towards the end of this one. But right now, the big threats on Gravitas' lineup, oh boy, they are terrifying to behold. And I think Tapoon is still pretty worried about Pabu, staying pretty close under tower, not pushing too far out.
Oh, there's no way Tapoon can go anywhere near Pabu at the moment. He's going to go to what, maybe a Banshee's Veil or a Zonya's next, you know, one of those defensive items. I think that he probably should have just gone for the Void Staff, because if they're not fighting on 3 items with Void Staff, they're probably just not winning it.
30 minutes into this game, Gravitas, great objective control, finding that they can fight as well as play the 1-3-1 game. And it just seems like they had a better grasp of what they needed to do and when they needed to pull the trigger here. Mammoth still holding out hope that they can pull off this combo in the dunk squad that they've built.
Well, look how disciplined this is. You know, they're able to get control of mid lane finally by bringing 5 members there. So Gravitas just say, we're not going to play that game. Instead, Baron has to be started up. Now they're on a clock.
Now they are. Pabu, he's running it down the bottom lane, but
Babbitt's half health already.
He's been committed to. This may not be the best Baron attempt, though, because it's going to mean that you've already got one pickup onto Praelis. They've shut him down, so they wanted the fight after all. Wait just a second. It's going to be turning around the opposite side, and the Lissandra doesn't come through. That was a bit of a weird fight. Neither team seemed like they wanted it after Praelis went down.
Yeah, it certainly was the case. So they swap junglers. So trade junglers there. GA goes down on both, but ultimately it is going to be the life of Praelis as well. In saying that, actually no summoner spells burn, so that's why Mammoth were happy with it, right? They got Pabu's flash, they got the teleport, they got flash on Praelis as well, and now it's actually going to be the Gravitas lineup starting up, Baron.
Yes, they are. Blast Cone over. This is no smite right now. They can't secure it for sure, but if this is in the darkness for Mammoth, they can grab it before there's a chance to react, and the Realm Warp out. Unfortunately, Decoy, he's left out to dry, but that's just fine for Gravitas.
Yeah, and they're teleporting top. They want to get something on the back end of this.
They might just be able to do it. However, Harry turns triple around, looking for more as Pabu comes through there. True Shot Barrage, a nearly half-healthy Babbitt, but Tapoon into the back line. Is that the chance? As he goes golden, but Praelis tags his way in to get the knock-up and the kill. It's a double over to Harry. Pabu takes down Tapoon, and all Mammoth get is the support from Gravitas.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the bottom lane just missed the message, and now they're under fire.
Yeah, Praise Seeker doesn't land, but doesn't matter. Teleport into the back, looking Raid coming through as Destiny throws on his own ultimate. King is going to be knocked up once again and secured by Raid. Destiny going down to the Rek'Sai ultimate for the ace.
And Decoy is laughing right now. You can see his player cam. So he gets left behind, he gets taken down, but everyone on the Mammoth side pays for it with their life, and now Gravitas can push in. They can maybe even look to break the base here, Pyra.
I think they can. Only Babbitt's coming up in the next couple of seconds. Tapoon is still 10 away, and everyone else is in the double digits. This is going to be an inhibitor take easily, and Gravitas, well, they've certainly been the beneficiaries of some good Dragon RNG, but they have taken everything on the map this game, and that is all them.
Yeah, they certainly have, and I mean, this Gravitas lineup, I feel like it's just maturing before my eyes. I said last week they're the best team at following a plan. Well, this time around it was sneak Baron, get out, then all of a sudden they force. So it's just play it nice and slow. Don't run in too quickly. And you can see that there's just desperation on the side of Mammoth, and they just leave Decoy to occupy 2 members. They're able to take the fight, and they slowly push in topside. Meanwhile, when they were stuck in the 1-3-1, they were really hard to shift out of that when finally Mammoth fought 5 members mid. They just gave up mid lane priority. Like, just every single time, Pyra, I feel like I say it, this is a team that sticks to the plan and doesn't improvise, doesn't look to change any of the rules. And it just means that teams must force against them when they have a lead, and no team has been able to do that in the recent weeks.
This is why we're seeing the rise of Gravitas. And, you know, they had a bit of a couple bumps in the road early on, and this is a new team. I think the expectations for them could be a little bit mixed.
Well, I thought they were going to come 5th because I didn't have Avant performing all that well. And Avant obviously have bucked that trend like pretty heavily. You know, they're still in 3rd spot. They'll be outright 3rd, even without head-to-head right now.
So who's impressed you more, Avant or Gravitas?
Probably Avant, because like I thought Gravitas were going to finish 5th, and right now it looks like they're going to finish, you know, 4th or, you know, thereabouts. I thought Avant was going to finish 6th. So, you know, to be in 3rd from 6th is a massive jump in my book, and has been a really surprising team and a fun team to watch. Like, who doesn't like watching Lane Kingdom flex picks everywhere? Like, it's really fun in League of Legends.
No, that's certainly the case, but you can also argue seeing a team grow and develop over time like Gravitas have done, that's also a joy to watch. Babbitt sits behind Pabu's minion line, but yeah, he can't really do much. Pabu's just a terror. Now that he has that Rylai's, the base is being broken open again. They will try to dunk onto Pabu. That's all 4 members there, but it's turned around as Gravitas on the counter collapse. Don't even care about Tapoon's ultimate, and they're just charging through the line to get the ace. It's not going to be clean because Praelis had already gone down, but it does not mean a thing. Gravitas will push in for the win.
They certainly will, and what a team fight out of Gravitas. They thought they'd caught Pabu, but instead they overcommit one more time, and Gravitas take the game.
That they will, and it only took them 35 minutes, and they looked like it was not going to be slow and steady from the very beginning with the planned invade. Gravitas had one thing in mind, and that was taking out the Nexus of Mammoth, putting themselves up.
So they don't get head-to-head, but they do claw themselves one game safer in this race for playoffs right now. And you have to say that in that current form, this Gravitas lineup look like one of the teams that will make it.
They certainly do. Momentum is on their side. I mean, this is a team that has a lot going for them.
Pyra, they stick to the plan. I can't say it enough. Like, at the right times in the game, you know, they have a good level 1 composition. You know, when you have yourself a Braum as well as an Ezreal, you can walk in anyway. You can check any brush. If you land 1 Q, then you're going to win the team fight. So, you know, they stick to the plan, level 1. Then in the mid game, they're 1-3-1. No one can answer Pabu. So as soon as someone's in Pabu's lane, fight for mid lane priority. You know, bring Harry if you need to. If someone's not in Pabu's lane, just seed pressure and allow Pabu to continue to push. That's literally how they played this mid to late game. And it sounds very simple, but there's things like good ward cover, like the ability to sneak that Baron and take risky plays when they need to, you know, not overcommitting to plays. But I think that it just comes down to the fact that this is a team that knows what their comps do well, knows what they don't do well, and just continues to play the game through at their own pace.
Hey, play your strengths. That's the way to win the game, and now they have themselves a winning record in that playoff race. Let's send it back over to the couch to break it down.
Oh, baby. I mean, a little shaky start, but then Gravitas just gel mind readers and just taking opportunity after opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, for Gravitas, they've got so many good things they can take away from a game like that. You know, the first thing is 5 bans removed. They still get a good composition, and I wouldn't say that anyone definitively won draft. You know, both teams are just happy, and that's good considering the adversity just thrown at them from the get-go. Level 1's the second thing that you have to look at.
Yeah, that was wild.
That's just utterly insane.
Yeah.
And Mammoth read it, and they probably knew it was coming, but then it just kept going.
Just explain what you were talking about. Specifically.
Sure, yeah. So this is the second game we've seen it in the OPL in a row today. You'll probably see more of it, and we've seen this internationally. Whenever there is a Braum on red side, they're invading your red buff. Like, they will look at the 3v3 and say, if this Braum makes our 3v3 stronger, we're coming for you, and there's nothing you can do.
Is pretty good.
Yeah, Braum's passive is insane, stuns everyone, like, doesn't matter what your other champions are, right? So they take the play, they go for the invade. Mammoth clearly know this, and they are prepared to counter it.
Yeah, and like counter it they do, right? Like if you go down the rabbit hole, yes, Gravitas's bottom side 4v4 probably should win, but it's the surprise factor of the alley like flash polving over the wall. And then like unfortunately for Mammoth, like it was Kalista TPing back to flank Gravitas on the level 1, and then Raid did exactly the same thing on the Ezreal when they try to invade the blue buff. So they get mega level 1 advantage, give it back to Gravitas. But the other 2 key points in this game were really like I think it was roughly about 15 minutes. There's like a Rift Herald trade, and Gravitas are looking to just like do the standard thing, right? Like trade on the other side of the map. They look to break bot side, but then Mammoth get everything. It's like triple TPs behind the bottom lane, booms them. They smash Rift Herald in, kill Pabu top side, and like completely blow open the map. But from that point, it just looked very disconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing for me, right, is like Mammoth's mid game looks fantastic still. Like they're very good at playing cross map a lot of the time, and that's a very good example of it. The Herald play and denying the bot lane play with teleport usage. It's good because they are good individual players that can make the calls themselves. But Gravitas are very good at slowing down the game and just playing their plan.
Yeah.
And they make it so hard for you to engage into them because they have good flank vision control. They prevent cannons from getting in. And they have the Rise pick, which I think just needs to be banned against Gravitas 100% of the time because their side lane threat is just too big with that champion. And they just deny any opportunities. And suddenly the game slows down. They get 3 items. And there is nothing Mammoth can do to come back into that because they're outscaled.
And Gravitas just playing it looked like with such confidence in the second half of that game as well. Just like every move seemed to be the right thing to be doing. So someone who is filled with confidence, overflowing, brimming, it's spurting out of him. It's Raid, and he's at the desk with Pyro.
I can feel it coming off Raid right now. I'm making me more confident, which is good, so thank you. Yeah, congrats on the win. This was a tough one. You guys had lost to Mammoth twice before, so what was different today?
I mean, honestly, not too much, I guess. We're just slowly improving every week. We were pretty close to beating them last time. I thought we actually won that game. Obviously, today it was a bit easier for us because they had no bans, but I don't want to take any credit away from us. I think all the boys played incredibly well, and I think we all worked really well together today. And you know, everyone knows this, but every team will know this in OPL. But when you have that game and everyone's just like on the same page, everyone's comfortable. It's really easy to play. Like I didn't even think I particularly played that well individually, but like I guess I looked good and everyone looked good because everyone was working really well together.
Yeah, you guys were gelling like a well-oiled machine, and it's great to see Gravitas come up. But you individually did shine, actually. And I was actually keeping tally on the 80 carries today because there's been 2 Ezreals and they both crushed it. Last game, were you watching FBI and just thinking like, I can do better than that? Because you did get a better score than him at the end.
Score doesn't mean anything really, but yeah.
Now that is not the words I expected out of an 80 carry main, but you still got the win, so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Cool, cool, cool stuff. Now, of course, as this weekend is Recall and Restore, we've got a lot more videos prepared, and this one is on maintaining a healthy balance.
What I do to keep a good headspace is try and spend time away from the game. So spend time with mates, going outside of the house, and it's just really good to have some time to unwind.
For me, personally, I really enjoy just being around other people, and I've been in gaming houses for 3 years now, and every time I've shared a room, because I'm like a really social person.
Just having a positive environment, like everyone that's happy, it just makes us play better as well, so it also makes me happy in return.
Outside of gaming, I talk quite a bit to friends and family, and I think that's pretty important for keeping a good headspace.
When I'm having a rough time, I have a place to bounce back from, whether it's talking to my older brothers or close friends.
Often when you're feeling down or you're not right, your friends will notice, and it's really important as that friend as well that you go talk to that person, because sometimes all they need is someone to say something to them.
To keep a healthy headspace, whenever I've had a rough week, I always like to go back to my parents' house and I get to see my pets. We've got a new cat recently called Nami, and she's the cutest thing. She's so playful. I don't have to think about anything. I just get to, relax and enjoy myself with my pets.
The best part about my cat, Mr. Cuddles, I think, is that alone time, but you're not actually alone. Like, you get to have that break from humans and like reset mentally, but at the same time, you don't feel like you're isolated. I've got a beautiful dog named Kobe. He makes me feel really happy. Like, he's the type of dog that's always just got like a smile on his face. He's always wagging, Dogs are never sad. It's hard to be sad when you're around a dog.
He's right. It is hard to be sad around a dog. It's very true. I love these videos.